So we just hit day 63 of Operation Epic Fury, or what was Operation Epic Fury. The White House has said that this operation's over. The Iranian rial just hit 1.75 million to the dollar. China is burning through its strategic oil reserves at a record pace, and the legacy media is still asking if we're winning. Let me settle that for you because I believe we already won. They just don't want to say it out loud. Here's what they're not telling you. In 38 days, the United States military did what nobody thought was possible. 85% of Iran's defense, their industrial base, has been destroyed. Their entire navy is sitting on the bottom of the Gulf, except for some of these speedboats. Every submarine that they've had sunk. Their space program gutted. 2,000 precision strikes. Their command and control is shattered. Are we surprised? 20 years on submarines. I told you on day one this was going to happen. But here's the part of this whole problem that the world refuses to acknowledge. The kinetic war was just the warm-up. The real victory came after the ceasefire, and it has a name. It's called the Blockade. President Trump activated the U.S. naval blockade on April the 13th. That's just about 19 days ago. From a tactical standpoint, this is one of the most decisive economic warfare moves of the 21st century. Trump himself put the numbers on social media, on True Social. Iran is losing $500 million a day. Their military and police are not getting paid. The regime is, quote, starving for cash. That's not me saying it. That's the commander-in-chief calling the shot in real time. And here's the article from CNBC confirming everything, that their economy is in free fall. It's a disaster right now. And I'm not sure how much longer that their economy can withhold this, how much longer they can take it. They have a lot of oil. They're oil rich and cash poor. You can see here their economy is shrunk by 6.1% in less than 2 months. This would make Biden proud. But meanwhile, the Ayatollah, let's call him the bunker cleric, he's hiding underground, watching his country implode. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that masterclass in strategic decision making. You closed your own strait, you crashed your own currency, and you handed Trump the leverage of a generation. I would say outstanding work here, man. Now, here's the part that nobody on cable news will touch. 20% of the world's oil moves through this choke point right here. And here's the question. Who is the biggest customer on the other end of that pipe? China. About half of China's seaborne oil supply moves through the Hormuz, through the strait. Half. Some 38% of all the oil going through that strait is bound for Chinese ports. So when Trump locked down the strait, when the U.S. Navy started stopping tankers and the IRGC started panicking, China didn't just lose a trading partner. China lost a lifeline. And these are words from the president himself. Peace through strength. Operation Epic Fury crushes the Iranian threat as the ceasefire takes hold. China's scrambling. They're burning through their strategic petroleum reserve at a clip nobody anticipated. They're paying spot market premiums for Russian crude. Their refineries in Shandong are running at reduced capacity. Their manufacturing margins, the entire foundation of the CCP's economic model, is evaporating. And here's the kicker. The Chinese Communist Party signed a $400 billion 25-year deal with Iran in 2021 to lock in cheap oil at below market prices. That deal is now worthless, according to this article here. And for China, this is an absolute blow to their entire economy. Beijing bet on Iran. Beijing lost. And from a tactical standpoint, this is the most underrated win of the entire conflict. No one is talking about this. We didn't just degrade Iran. We made China pay for it. And Beijing is paying every single day now. If you think Iran's economy is hurting, cut off the Chinese economy, cut off the oil that flows in there. And now you've got the talking heads running around with scorecards, half points, halfway, question marks. Are we winning? They're asking this like it's a real question, but I'm going to break down the actual intel. The Iranian rial, 1.75 million to the dollar, and now they're saying it's 1.47 to the dollar. That's north of 68, almost 70% of inflation. The economy is projected to contract over 6 years. The economy is projected to contract over 6% this year. Bread lines, fuel rationing in a country that sits on the third largest oil reserves on the planet. Could you imagine this? The Iranian leader, the supreme leader, the new one, Khomeini's son, he has ordered citizens to reduce consumption of food, water, energy, and fuel. And you're telling me Iran is winning? You're putting them in bread lines. You're putting them in soup lines. They're getting ordered to consume less in their own country. This is crazy talk for anyone to say that they are winning. You can see here with Al Jazeera, how long can Iran survive the U.S.'s Hormuz blockade? It doesn't make sense. Anyone that is telling you that they are winning doesn't understand the leverage that is happening right now. You want to talk about destabilizing the world? Iran can't destabilize a gas station right now. They can't pay their own IRGC officers. They can't keep the lights on past 8 p.m. in Tehran. There are mass protests in Tehran, Isfahan, Shiraz, Mashhad, the largest unrest since 2022. And people are chanting death to the dictator in the streets of the capital because they can't afford to feed their own families. But someone on CNBC, CNN, and other channels, they're going to tell you that this regime is winning. A regime that is days, weeks, maybe a couple of months from collapse. Does this sound like they're winning? If this is what winning is, I don't want to win. I want to keep losing. Right? Iran's military is broken. 85% of their defense industrial base is gone. Their navy is annihilated. Their economy's in free fall. Their currency is worthless. Their people are in the streets. Their supreme leader, whichever one they're on right now, is dead. And the new one's hiding in a bunker telling people to eat less. Their only patron is China. And China is bleeding cash. They're burning reserves. And think about that. And you watch this 25-year strategic bet go up in smoke. They made a deal to buy oil from them exclusively for 25 years. And right now, they can't even do that. And their proxies, Iranian government's proxies, Hezbollah, quiet. The Houthis are quiet. The Iraqi militias are quiet. The IRGC has nothing left to ship and no money to ship it with. That isn't a stalemate. This is not a draw. This is a strategic victory of historic proportions. And anyone that is telling you anything different just doesn't understand economic warfare. I'll give you the entire picture here because this is where a little bit of background matters. A naval blockade is not just a ship sitting in the water. No, a naval blockade is deterrence. It is a layered, multi-domain operation involving surface combatants like you see here, attack submarines. You've got P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, satellite surveillance, signals intelligence. The U.S. is currently running all of it. Iranian tankers are being intercepted in international waters. Chinese flag vessels are being warned off. The IRGC's revenue stream, that toll booth they set up in March, is charging up to $2 million per ship. That revenue stream is also collapsing. Now, there's information this morning that a tanker was hijacked by Somalians. You can see the UKMTO warning here. How does this change things? But this tanker was hijacked. You can see the information here. We're going back to Captain Phillips. It's this MT Eureka leaving out of Oman going south, and it was boarded. We've got real pirates. So now oil is becoming a valuable commodity on the, what I would call the black market. And this blockade, with costing Iran this much money, almost $5 billion in oil revenue. You've got all these tankers that are just sitting inside of the Strait of Hormuz that can't go anywhere. China needs that oil. China needs that to survive. And you've got people like the Babylon Bee that are clowning on Iran. Iran issues serious threat that may have a massive reserve of more serious threats. That's what they're down to right now, are just idle threats, because they don't control anything. The Iranian government is out of moves. They're out of options. The blockade is doing in 60 days what 20 years of sanctions could not. And it's doing it without a single American ground combat death. That is precision. That's what 21st century warfare looks like when you have a commander-in-chief willing to use it. And the strategic picture, Trump didn't go in to occupy. He did not go in to nation build. He went in with 3 objectives: break the regime's ability to threaten the region, choke off the proxies, and put the nuclear program on ice or under dirt. And all 3 of those have been done. Then he added a 4th move that nobody saw, the naval blockade. And that 4th move did something the first 3 could not. It pulled China directly into the cost of the Iranian aggression. For the first time in modern memory, the Chinese Communist Party is paying for a direct economic price for backing a rogue regime. Beijing has to make a decision: keep funding a sinking ship and bleed reserves indefinitely, or cut Tehran loose and watch their 25-year strategic investment collapse. Either way, China loses. That's the genius of this entire blockade. It's not just an Iran strategy. It is a China strategy disguised as Iran strategy. Now, here's what I'm watching for the next 30 days, and I have a full breakdown coming on this. Watch the rial. If it crosses 2 million to the dollar, we're looking at full economic collapse and likely regime change in Iran. I want you to watch the protest in Tehran. The chants have already shifted from economic grievances to calls for the end of the Islamic Republic. That was not happened at this scale since 1979. And then last, I want you to watch Beijing. China just ordered the establishment of a Ministry of Crisis Administration. China and Russia have shown little appetite to bail Iran out. Beijing has to decide whether to keep funding a sinking ship or cut Tehran loose. And I think they're going to cut them loose. The next round of nuclear negotiations is going to look very different when Iran is negotiating from a position of total economic collapse. The regime is on the clock, and the clock is running fast. 20 years on submarines, I've watched a lot of conflicts. This one is not a draw. This is not halfway. This is a strategic victory that the legacy media refuses to call a victory because the wrong guy is in the White House. We've already won. They just don't want to say it. Drop an anchor in the comments if you want me to keep tracking this day by day. Hit subscribe. Follow me at Navy Vet over on X, and I'll see you in the ready room.